Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Orienteering World Cup. It is round 2 of 2026 and we've come to Sweden, to Western Sweden in fact, to Lidköping, where we will have a long weekend of sprint orienteering. We've got the sprint and the sprint relay still to come. Today though is all about the knockout, and I say today because we have already had qualifications this morning. That took place in the early morning sunshine, where all of our athletes went to the start line for very short courses, only around a couple of kilometers. Winning times are about 8 minutes, and from those heats the top 12 qualified through into 12 in each heat, so 36 athletes in total qualifying through to the knockout stages. So we will have 6 quarterfinals with 6 athletes each running first today. They will get knocked out by half, so 3 will qualify to make 3 semi-finals of 6. Just the top 2 qualify from that in order to make it through to a final and with a chance of winning the World Cup round. So we've got the quarterfinals coming thick and fast today. Jonas is here. Why don't you talk us through the quarterfinals?
Yeah, I mean, the terrain, if you look at the map, it's a very Swedish kind of sprint today. We have a couple quite interesting route choices. For example, the one between 1 and 2, you have, I would say, 2 different options you can take. It will be interesting to see how the runners decide tactically. Will they split up or will they try to stay together in the beginning? You have route choices as well, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Sometimes it's not very easy to see them. You have to be careful, but then you change the side of the city over the river here and towards the arena. It's rather short again here. Many barriers, especially in the second part of the course. That's something we're going to see later on as well. Well, you can see it's quite rectangular, the whole city. It's quite difficult to create good route choices. But I think we have a few good route choices and it's going to be interesting. And you said it's 6 runners in each heat. There's actually in quarterfinal 2, we're going to have 7 runners because we had 2 runners with the same time in the qualification.
Yeah, exactly. But it does mean still only the top 3 are going to make it through to the semi-finals. So you can see them all listed up there. On the men's side of things, any shocks in qualification?
Yeah, I would say so. We had quite a few names that didn't make it to the final. Tino Palsini, maybe the biggest one of them because he won the individual sprint a couple of weeks ago in Switzerland. Jonathan Gustafsson, a very good knockout sprinter, didn't make it to the final. Timo Sutter didn't make it, and Isak von Krusenstjerna had a miss punch as well. So 4 quite big names, I would say, that didn't make it to these quarterfinals.
Yeah, I'll add August Malane into that as well, the European champion. Yeah, lots and lots of men, not making it through to that final. And I mean, the qualification margin was just so close. So you had to be pretty much perfect to be able to qualify.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it before, there were very short qualification races. And of course, if you only have about 2 kilometers or something like that, the margin isn't big. And if you do a mistake, if you have a wrong route choice, take a wrong decision, then it doesn't take a lot and you're out. I mean, there's no time to win back any time.
So you, obviously we're talking kind of seeing a look at the map. There's 3 choices, 3 options you could get when it comes to the knockout sprint rounds. You could get this straight course like we have for this quarterfinal. You could get runner's choice where they choose a series of controls that they want to go to, kind of splits the athletes up. Or you could have forking, kind of loops, or different orders they go. They will all eventually do the same controls, but you can have this loop system. And we had for a while lots and lots of rounds in the World Cup with the same system, and now we've got a straight, we've got a straight race. It'll be really interesting to see how that works out after having a couple of rounds of the World Cup that were really, really tricky recently. Lots of tricksy things, so I'm not sure what the athletes will be expecting. But let's take a look at this first quarter-final. We've got Thomas Heikkilä from Finland in there, Joey Haddon back from an inflammation injury. Who are our favourites in this one?
I would say we're going to have a fight between I mean, Thomas Heikkilä for sure is the favorite in this heat. He has been so strong a couple of weeks ago in the knockout sprint, tough fight there with Kasper Fosse for the victory. Joey Haddon has been winning knockout sprints before in Olten, I think in 2024. Lucas Liland was second in the Norwegian championship. So I think it's a rather open one for the victory or for the win in this heat, but I think the two strongest runners on paper, Heikkilä, Haddon and Liland.
So we caught up with them then, saw them just at the start, and now we could get this drone shot. As you can see them running past the buildings here on their way, I think, to the third control. And they're already spread out a fair bit actually here, just trying to count how many runners we've got.
One runner a little bit behind. It's hard to see who it is. I think we have Aro Aho in the lead, then Heikkilä,
then Heikkilä,
Liland, and
Haddon just in 5th place there.
So then it's Quentin Moulet a bit behind.
Yeah, the Frenchman not there. So that's the 4th control. They're going to, watch out there. Henry McNulty just lost a place. He was going to almost go underneath that bridge. So they will race over the bridge here. You can see there, Moulet 6 seconds behind at the moment. But certainly the Finnish athletes really pushing the pace here. And I think Heikkilä went to the front.
They changed over to the other side of the river. Second part of the course.
They go north around here, yeah?
Yeah, it was quite hard to see if they split up in the beginning or what exactly was the cause. That they are already a little bit split up here.
And of course, Quentin Moulet has to go the other way in order to try and go, try and catch up any time.
Yeah,
although they have all gone the same way.
And I mean, the gap now, it looks not good for him because the gap is rather big. Sometimes it's not really a problem that the gap is big, but you have to take into account as well that we have 5 runners in front of him. So he needs to close the gap and overtake 2 of the runners.
Now, I mean, you're talking about it being such a Swedish sprint, A, because you've got this grid-like system, but B, you've got all these barriers, and it basically makes it one massive maze, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course. But it is difficult to create good courses or interesting courses if you have those parallel streets. You have this.
They're all stopping there. Who's gone ahead? Ooh, I think that was Aroaho who was well prepared there. But still all together. Sorry, Jonas, continue with your train of thoughts.
No, it makes it very easy because it makes it hard to set a good course because it's easy to see when it's so symmetric. So what you try to do is you put in barriers to kind of trick the eyes. It's much harder to see quick route choices when you have barriers because you have to. It fools your eye, your intuition, how you usually plan route choices. And for runners, it's not very convenient. First of all, you have to see the barriers, and then you have to plan around them. So it's a good choice here, I think, because otherwise it would have been very, very simple.
Yeah, and they're all just following each other through here. They're on their way to the 8th control. And as you said, they kind of had to go beyond the control and then they've wiggled around the back. But crucially here, they have all stuck together. And now there's just 2 more control, well, 1 more control and then a finish here on this men's quarterfinal number 1. Top 3 to go through. Who's going to make it up there? We've got Finland in the lead. It looks like Araho. Joey Haddon's there. Henry McNulty from Australia too. Where is Thomas Heikkilä? Is he the one in the lead? It's hard to tell from the GPS, from the drone shot, but we're going to get them in the arena in just a couple of seconds' time because they're on the closing straight here. Now we've got Finland, Switzerland, Australia at the moment, just around these last few houses now. And
It
it is Heikkilä, then
another one.
Hadon, the two favourites from this race, going to make it through, no problems whatsoever. They turn around in front of this Old Town Hall, and then we've got Henry McNulty from Australia also going to make it through. So straightforward qualification, 7:34 to Thomas Heikkilä of Finland, World Cup silver medalist, is joined by Hadon and McNulty. So they'll get their trackers there, their emit bricks going to be downloaded, checking they've got everything. Joey Hadon there just taking a long look at his map, but there we go. Thomas Heikkilä, Joey Hadon and Henry McNulty safely through. And we're going to move on thick and fast with all of these quarterfinals, because the next one, they've already been running out for a couple of minutes. Let's see them at the start. And this is the group of 7 athletes.
Yeah, makes it quite much harder to qualify. Actually, it's not very good luck if you're in this one. And a couple good runners here as well. Thomas Grifta won a sprint race in Switzerland. In 2025. So last year, Benjamin Wey had a great qualification this morning. Gustav Runefors won a Swedish league just this year. So quite strong runners here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've been on the first few controls already. We'll catch them going across. They should pass in front of us. Here they are, all quite strung out at the moment. It looks like that's Runefors at the front in the dark colours of the Swedish kit. There's 6 athletes in the picture. There are 7, so we've already lost 1 somewhere. Could well have gone a different way. Although, you know, these athletes will be able to really quickly and easily see that they've got the same map, so we're going to want to go the different way.
Again.
But yeah, I think this was. But look,
I think it's Casado in the lead. Then we have Runefors.
And I think Casado went the other way.
Yeah.
And got ahead, which is quite brave to do early on.
Yeah, it's hard to say for us because we don't get the GPS working, so we can't really tell you. But from what we see, there's another route choice where he come from the other side to control 3. So we don't really see him in the picture. I think that was the case here. So good job here for Casado. But I mean, basically they are all still together. You're still within the group, even if you're in position 3 or 4. Now you can see that there are a couple of runners that want to have a bit higher speed here. I think it was Runefors to say, yeah, and Kripta.
You know, it was almost like Casado decided to let the others catch him. He really slowed down the pace, and he's going to go another way again.
Routes.
Yeah, you know what? He was backing off. I think he wanted the others to get ahead of him, and you can see he was reading the map quite a lot there. So he's gone a different way. We're going to see them again next at the 6th control.
And what happens, of course, if one of the runners decides to go another route, there's no tactical game anymore. Everyone has to go full speed because you don't know which route's going to be the quicker one. But you can see that
he's lost a lot of time there, yeah.
Fortunate for him. But now you can see that there is definitely full speed in the lead here. Now you don't want to let him get back into this group. Different route choices.
Ooh,
again,
absolutely.
To the next control.
So 4 athletes here going to round this corner on their way to the 7th control.
Yeah, almost mistake there, leaving the control.
This heat is chaos, but we can't really see who is who. That looks like Krifta, I think at the front.
Yeah, it's Krifta in the front. Then we have Heinonen of the runners we can see here. Third one has to be
And
Björn
Alfred
Röth.
Björnrod, yeah, in the dark shorts. It's Norway's got a new sprint kit this season. But yeah, you can see just how spread out these guys are, how fast the pace is being pushed by Krivda ahead. But you can see all the athletes running lots of different directions. And I think, in fact, they're already there. Was that Casado who's completely changed everything round?
Yeah.
So Runeforce has punched, Pichard has punched. This is an absolute mess of a quarterfinal. We're really struggling to try and tell you what's going on. So let's rely on those radio controls there, because it looks like Runeforce and Pichard have a 9-second lead over Casado, then Benjamin Wade there, Krivda and Heinen, those ones who we could see focusing in the drone shot, have dropped back again. So they've only got a couple of controls more now until we get to the arena.
And as it looks now,
control 9.
It's a fight between Vey and I think it was Casado. Hesitation here.
But here's Gustav Runeforce in the lead, and that looks like Romain Pichard as well from France.
Yeah.
They've gone through all they've rolled away, sprinting out to the finish there. I think Pichard's going to get it. He doesn't get any extra points for doing that.
No, but
and it looks like
don't think he knows.
Into third.
I don't think he knew that they were first and second. That's why he was sprinting or like pushing so hard in the end.
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right.
It's quite hard for the runners to keep a good overview here over the situations. You have so many different route choices to take, or in this heat we had so many different decisions.
And this is what I like about the knockout sprint orienteering, is you get a different group of 6 guys together, you put them on exactly the same course, of 7 guys in this instance, and they're going to race it completely differently. Lots and lots of splitting up. I mean, Alvaro Casado from the 3rd control and so to the 3rd control, I think he went a different way, and then again to the 6th control, and then he, I think it was the routes out towards 7 and then 8, they managed to pick up some time. Very, very interesting, but so many times in the knockout sprint orienteering, you have that kind of one person at the front making the decisions, or a couple of people at the front making the decisions, everybody else kind of following on, and then just trying to keep on their tails and overtaking at the end. But this was an exciting way of racing knockout sprint orienteering. And Krivda knows he's done, just jogging in, saving his energy maybe for the individual sprint. I think the individual sprint is where he's got more chances of picking up a medal, like he did at the last round of the World Cup. So a minute later, nice and chill across the line. We get ready for our 3rd quarter final. So we already know the first 6 men to make it through. Let's head to the next quarterfinal then, the next 6 athletes. Who do you want to be looking out for then in this round? Quite tight.
Yeah, it's quite tight. I would be highlighting Matthias Barros-Valle and Fabian Abersold. But I mean, Annie Ronkainen won one of the heats this morning's. Guillaume Verhoef was 4th in the knockout in Locarno, so very strong runners as well. But generally, I have the feeling sooner or later Fabian Abersold is going to win a sprint or a knockout sprint. I'm quite sure it will happen, but so far he has always struggled, mostly like tactically, at one point of the course. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe it's not going to be the most difficult one today when it comes to tactics. Like if you have a course like this one now, for example, if you don't feel very good tactical, just stay in the group. I mean, if you're unsecure, stay with the others. He has the physicality to just keep in the group and then finish top 3. You can take yourself to the final with that tactics, and of course then everything can happen. So it's going to be interesting to follow him. But at the same time, he's the kind of runner who can he can surprise negatively as well. So he's every now and then he does just stupid mistakes, and then he could be out in the quarterfinal as well.
So people splitting up here on the way to 7 then. Who's got it right? It's in the corner of this courtyard, and looks like it's going to kind of continue an approach from the north there. And I think it's one of the Finns in the lead.
Yeah, or
the white top
France.
and blue shorts.
Yeah, it's so hard to see.
It's so hard to see.
Cannon.
Yeah, won his heat in the qualification, so got a lot of confidence for today's race.
We have all of the runners on this option here. Now they're splitting up. I mean, you have to.
It's so hard for me to.
Yeah, you have two different options. You go all the way around, but they are hesitating here. Did a small mistake.
There was a barrier there that I think they didn't quite realise about.
Yeah, they have to go around. Now let's see if we have the other runners at the control. Went the other way. I think they already exit the control. I think it would have been quicker to go where the runners went that we follow, but they did a mistake. And now again, Abersold was in this group. As mentioned before, it's gonna be difficult for him now to get back 3 seconds up to Barros-Valle.
Yeah, so that control for Rove punch first then. Mariani of Italy. We've already got one French athlete through, I think. Romain Pichard. Can we get another? Again, I think the athletes are split up on their way into the arena, but they're very close now. On the approach here, going to the last control, and it is Guillaume Verove in the lead. We've got another French athlete, that's Mathieu Barros-Valle, and then Mariani and Abersold are both fighting hard here. Who's going to get across the line first? It is Abersold. So Verove, Barros-Valle, the two French athletes in the lead. Both of them celebrating together. Abersold recovers from that mistake, has the turn of pace ahead of Mariani from Italy, and is safely through. Again, another very different race, Jonas.
It was also almost that Mariani was a bit surprised that there was someone else coming from behind. Otherwise, he would have maybe had the chance to react on this one. But this was a tight one. And interesting to see again, they split up a lot. There are many different routes executed. We have quite often a bit of hesitation, especially around control 8. So that's interesting.
And in this next quarterfinal number 4, it is Southern Hemisphere versus Northern Hemisphere. We've got 3 guys from the Southern Hemisphere, 2 Aussies and 1 Kiwi, with Cooper Hawley, a top-year junior in this heat. We've also got Aston Key, his first time back in Europe since 2022. So back together racing here and already out on the course. Here they come. How many athletes have we got here? 2 we can see there, who've got a bit ahead, then another 3, and who's that pushing ahead?
I think it's Breivik. I'm not sure. It's easier with
Joe Lynch. Anyway, the third control is just on the corner of that church, so they'll turn around, cross over the road, and then come down towards the 4th control. Let's have a look at the order. So it's like Axel Granqvist in the lead, and then Martin Rudny from Czechia. So Granqvist has put he's a finalist from the World Cup in Switzerland.
And interesting was that Joseph Lynch went a different route to control 3. So I think he dropped a bit on this one.
So those 2 guys with a gap made a very, very fast start. And obviously you've got to decide, do you go with them? Do you kind of let them get away? Do you think they've, started too fast for this competition? Very, very tricky one as the two athletes come through here, Granqvist and Rudny. Then we've got Lynch and we've got Hawley, I
can
think.
see that they are splitting up here. And I would have done the same because there are two options here. You can do both. And if you have 5 runners in front of you, then if you see that they're more or less equal, then take the other one.
Yeah, that's what Aston Key has done, going to the right of the picture. There's the control and different routes here out of this control. Will everybody follow suit? Of course they're going to follow suit. Of course, sprint orienteering got to navigate those inconveniently parked cars as well. But it's still looking fairly similar as the men come through here, past through these garden sections in these courtyards. And it looks like, I think, as the Czech athlete gonna, oh no, it's still Axel Granqvist in the lead. Then from Czechia, Martin Rudny, so one more place to go. And Joseph Lynch, I think, is going a different way. So will these two lose or gain any time with this route choice? We know that it was quite a decisive route choice in previous rounds.
Yeah, but I mean, last time we had the different route choices at this point and not directly out of the control, so it's still going to be interesting to follow. Now they have to continue around. There's a barrier there to the left. They could spot it, no problems here.
Yeah, no problem.
That's where we had hesitations before. Yeah, so it's Rudny and Granqvist. And we have Breivik. There we have Lynch, who went the other way.
So it does look like we've got a clear 3 then here at the moment, with just the arena last control still to go. So just this last right-hand bend and then into the arena where the crowd is waiting. And this top 3 look very clear to make it through to the semi-finals. Top 3 of 6 just to make it through, and these guys can jog in. As you can see, Axel Granqvist looking behind him, joined by Martin Rudny, and then I wonder if there'll be a bit more of a sprint for 3rd place. No, nothing needed from Erik Langendahl Breivik, so the Norwegian joins Rudny and Granqvist into the quarter-final. Joe Lynch just there in 4th place. Has anybody really impressed you yet in this knockout?
Not seen over the whole competition, but I mean, the Runefors looked really strong in the first, was it the second heat? Heikkilä physically looks good at the moment, but not only this competition, also a couple of weeks ago. McNulty looked good physically. Abersold, as expected, somewhere between this genius and a bit crazy. Yeah, but I mean, no one was dominating in a way, but I mean, it's a quarterfinal. It's hard to say. I think if you leave a good impression over a whole day, not in a single quarterfinal, and yeah, for me, Heikkilä looked good. Heikkilä looked good.
Okay, that's a very early indication, but you're right. The knockout is all about racing, going through all of the rounds. There's a lot of fast Ks that these guys are going to have to do throughout the whole course of the day. Remember, they've already done the qualification today. It's all about warming up, cooling down, staying hydrated, getting, getting fueling, stretching, recovering in between everything. So there's there's actually a lot to do throughout the whole of today.
One thing I want to mention, I mean, the one runner that really you could see that he didn't look at the others, he went his own way, and that was Casado. It didn't turn out perfectly in all the route choices, but he seems to have the confidence in his technique and this physicality to go his own routes, and I think it didn't really pay off. I mean, he made it to the semi-final, but it was quite tight in the end, but it could be paying off if you look at the whole day then, semi-final and maybe a final as well.
So this group here, not as much spread out as the other races, an indication maybe that it's a little bit slower in pace. You can see Tim Robertson back in some better form at the moment, and he is leading this little pack of 6, but they really are very close together.
Yeah, but it's quite typical. I mean, you have these 6 runners here. There's no very clear favorite, as in other, like, for example, if you have Heikkilä and Hadon or Runefoss, then you have a clear favorite for the heat, and they want to keep out of some troubles, and they want to have a high speed in order to not lose on the last meters. But here I think they are rather equal, the runners, the 6 runners, so maybe they try to stay a bit more together. They don't have anyone turning up the speed that much in the beginning, and now maybe in the second part, 6-7, when you have route choices, then 7-8 as well, that you take different decisions on the second half of the course.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to keep watching these guys, see whether they're going to split up or stay together, because as you said, it's so open. I mean, Akseli Ruohola, European bronze medalist. Zoltan Budozo really impressed in Switzerland at the last round of the World Cup. He was 5th in the sprint there. Obviously, Victor Svensk is a fantastic runner, better at the forest, I would say, but you never want to count him out. And of course, Tim Robertson, one of the, sprint specialists, and picking up, some fantastic results over the course of his career. Looks like he's back in some form now. He's still in the lead. They're still all together. So we'll see whether he is able to make it through. Still very, very close. That's the 7th control. I think we had one athlete going the other way. Yeah, you could really choose to back out, go out south of that control, kind of the way you came in, and then it's quite an easy route into the control from there. That's what Sankalo has done, as you can see. Sampo Sankalo from Finland, I think. Everybody else goes out towards the arena.
There's a mix-up with the GPS, with the names. Key is not running in this one.
Nope.
Should be, who is it then? Is it Svensk?
I think it's
with the wrong one.
No, hang on. Oh, I don't know. Either way, what's this? 5 guys here all together?
Yeah.
Still super close. There's the runner who went the other way. It does look like a Swedish kit there. But we've got it down as Attinger and Ruohola off the pace. Oh, Victor Svensk was ahead.
Svensk 8 seconds ahead,
yeah,
so that turned up good.
It did turn out very well, and of course maybe these guys won't even be able to see him ahead as they head towards the 9th control. So Svensk taking a different route, going south on the way to control number 8, backing out of the control, and then approaching from the south. All the others going north. And approaching from the north as well, you have to go beyond the control and then go back into it. But there is a fight out here, but Victor Svensk, I think, is ahead. Here he is. He's going to go and qualify first. Victor Svensk from Sweden, a great route choice from him. And this is going to be a sprint now. Oh my gosh, there's loads of them there. We've got Zoltan Budozo, we've got Tim Robertson, and it's an absolute fight out to the line. I think we've got the Finn to go through Ruohola.
And
And
Ruidoso, I guess, yeah.
I think that's called correctly on the screen there. Very, very tight. Look how close it is between second and fifth, particularly. Very, very close. So Victor Svensson, Zoltan Bidoso, Akseli Ruohola, European bronze medalist, all making it through. And then they've got to go to the post-race quarantine. They're not allowed to see what has happened with any of the other races. But this is the sixth and final quarterfinal before we find out the full lineup for the next round. And again, a couple of really big names in this one.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising because usually, I mean, you have this draw after the qualification, so you can actually decide yourself in which heat you go. And you have the chance. I mean, heat 6 on paper is the worst to take because you don't have as much time to recover after the quarterfinal and then especially after the semifinal to the final, because you're always in the last heat. And to have so many strong runners in that heat 6 really shows it's some kind of bad planning from the runners that you end up there, and many of the favorites end up there. So I'm very surprised. Usually you have one or two big names in heat 6, rather easy to go to the semifinal, but then you have the disadvantage of the recovery time to the final. And this time here, it's really hard to qualify for the semifinal.
Yes, and you can see this pace is much higher than the previous one. I think that's Kasper Fosse at the front leading them out. We've got two runners, then a gap, another two, then one, and then we've lost one runner off the back. Let's see who they are as they come through here. This is Kasper Fosse.
Yeah, we have
then
the
Anton
splits
Reichenbach.
already.
Yep. Then Andrieu, and it is Yannick Michels off the back. I was going to say a surprise for me, but he will be really targeting the individual sprint, won't he?
Yeah, but still it's a surprise, and it's going to be very tough for him to get back. I mean, for sure, he's not as strong in the knockout sprint as in the individual sprint, but still he should be able to go to a semi-final. But here today, it's going to be very hard for him because the gap is big and many runners in front of him.
So Kasper Fosse made a quick start. You can see Anton Reichenbach just wants to be on his heels as much as he can. Ooh, a little bit of a slowing down, going through that little gap.
Reichenbach had a good qualification this morning, actually. So it's going to be interesting. Usually, I think he is a runner who really could make it to the semifinals today. He looked strong in the morning. Seems to have a good or a clear technique as well for this quarterfinal here.
Obviously, you have to take this GPS tracking with a big pinch of salt. It just kind of shows the directions that they're going.
With a huge one.
Yeah, it really is. You can't trust it that much in and amongst the streets, but we can get amongst the athletes here. We can try and follow them as we get kind of our first view of what it is actually like running through all of these houses.
It was still Fosse and Reichenbach in the lead, then a gap to, I think it's Glonek.
Yeah, I think you're right. Kasper Fosse, the winner of the last round of the World Cup, after there was a protest put in, a jury decision about crossing over a green uncrossable boundary. But
here again, you can't take
decided to be the winner.
I mean, Fosse and Reichenbach are ahead, so it's the GPS really isn't. You don't trust it. That's why it's so hard for us to tell you anything about the route choices in the beginning.
Yeah, because you can't see where they're gone. It's very hard to pick them up on the drone shot as well, although I have to tell you, the drone pilot was doing a great job of trying to follow everybody, because it is not easy to see where people are going and kind of keep your place. I mean, even just watching this broadcast and looking at the map at the same time, it's really hard to see where people have gone, and still hard to see where people have gone. I think we'll have to wait until they're all in the arena for us to figure this one out. Okay, here they come, pick them back up on the drone.
at that control 8, but I don't think we'll get it here.
That does look like Casper Fosse still.
Yeah, and still Reichenbach in second. There's the runner coming from the
coming
left
from the
here.
other direction.
And it's not Glonek, I think. Who is it?
Well, it's Fosse in the lead, then Reichenbach, and then is it a French?
I think it's Andrieux.
Kit. It's Andrieux from France. Yeah. So Fosse, Reichenbach from Germany. Top two safely through, and this is indeed the Frenchman Quentin Andrieux with Glonek, Olejnik, and Michels missing out. So that is it. Those are all of the men through, all of the men's quarterfinals through. They'll go and try and do some recovery now, get ready for their semi-finals. They'll learn who they're racing against as well. Try and get a bit of hydration on board, some active recovery. It's not very long before their semi-final either. And again, 6 sprints, knockout sprints raced very, very differently. You can probably see a big difference in speed as well between some of these athletes, between all of these quarter-finals. If looking at the fastest one, Casper Fosse, look at that. Look how fast, much faster he was than everybody else. And
I mean, the slowest one was more than half a minute slower compared to Casper Fosse. I think it was heat number 2.
Yeah, this is very impressive. So, yeah, lots of racing already and lots still to come then in this men's race. We've got those 3 semi-finals coming up later this afternoon. Will Casper Fosse be able to take another World Cup win? Will there be an upset? Will Häkkilä take revenge for the jury decision, for the referee decision indeed, from the last race? It's all, of course, part of the team's build-up to the World Championships this year, going to be held in Italy, in Genoa, in July, and yeah, it's going to give them some feedback about just how well they're getting on. So let's have a little recap then of the course, Jonas, as we go towards the women's races.
Yeah, I mean, you can see now, actually, you can see the women's course here. It's rather similar to the men's one. It's a bit shorter. You can see from control 2, the men went up to this church, and then to control 3, the women, they go straight. And then I think it's a bit shorter in the second part as well. But it's a rather similar course, how it is built up. You have quite many route choices. It's a tricky one. You have possibilities to decide differently compared to the others. So I think it's going to be very similar in how it develops compared to the men before.
So you can see the lineups then for these quarter-finals. Of course, they made it through qualification earlier this morning. Any names missing out very quickly?
Yeah, the biggest name missed out, Andrine Benjaminsen. I think she suffered with some back pain she got throughout the week. She missed the quarterfinals. Hanne Hilo missed them as well, and Venla Harju. The biggest names.
So start of the quarterfinal number 1 there, and Teresa Roturier really going fast out of that. It was very clear that she wanted to get into the lead. She was the bronze medalist at the World Cup in Uster, was 4th in the World Cup sprint in Locarno a couple of weeks ago, and you can see catching up with them later on the course, or they were all together, and now just splitting up a little bit here. Not much, though. They are all back together then, these athletes, all very, very close. Who...
It's Roturier, then Gemperle, Olsson, Grysenstierna, Angelvik Christiansson, and Ellie Punto.
So Ellie Punto, first-year senior, up against Caroline Olsen on her return from having her baby about a year ago. Is the world silver medalist in this discipline, and I think this is a really quite an open quarterfinal, as
Yeah.
Natalia Gempler just hesitates there. She gets pushed to the back of the group. She's going to try and change it up there, and there's two different routes
That's
here
von
now. I think that's
Grüße
Gempler
and Gempler.
yeah, exactly. Going the other way. We'll see whether that pays off. They're all just going to come back together there, exactly.
Here they come, yeah.
Of course, it does push the pace when you suddenly know you've got athletes running in other directions, when you can't see everybody.
Couturier in the lead, ahead of two Swedish runners. Let's say now different routes here.
Yeah, so most of them choosing to wiggle through all of these buildings. Roturier, I think, going the other way.
In the lead here. Oh, different routes here. No, they go into the, it's Olsson who made the quick decision.
Someone else who's done that.
Yeah, it's only Olsson who got it right. Then we have Augervik Christiansson.
Yeah, there she is ahead. So the others wiggled through here, and then it was the barrier to the northeast of the control that some of them even ran into.
Just under the red line from 7 to 8.
And that's because they think they're on the east of the building, but actually they're on the west of the building where the barrier is, yes? Right, let's catch them coming out of here. I think that is Olsson and Roturier, and we've got Ida Agve Christiansen, I think. You can tell Caroline Olsson, she's got a very distinctive running style, kind of arms and legs going everywhere, but very strong, and it works, absolutely. It's worked for her today. She knew exactly where she was going on that route into 7.
Look at the fight for the third position. It looked like Augervik Christiansson had everything under control, but Gempler pushed quite hard there. And now she drops
and I think we've got Ellie Punto pushing hard too. Caroline Olsson looking behind her. Teresa Roturier also good, but who's going to get the third? I think it is going to be the young Finn who's going to get there. So Roturier and Olsson and Ellie Punto, the first-year senior from Finland, also going through.
And interesting, because I think Natalia Gempler would have had the chance towards the last control as well, but she started to hesitate just when they came around the corner. Took herself out of the decision here.
That just shows how prepared you need to be for this knockout sprint, but Teresa Roturier safely through. No problems for her. She's really refound her sprint form this season already. And very impressive. Okay, this is a second quarterfinal of the 6. 6 quarterfinals, top 3 only to make it through to the next round. Big mix of nations here. Sanna Fast, probably the favourite. So this was the start a couple of minutes earlier. Then we'll catch up with them further round the course. All staying together at this point. Laura Robertson there, just on the back of the group. This is the third control. We turn around here, and I think that is Sanna Fast in the lead.
Yeah, it is.
Then we've got Vera Klemetinen. I think it's that Frida Wikström maybe moving up into second. It is 2 Swedes in the lead, I think, possibly. Oh, nearly falling over, and they're going to go different ways here.
Yeah.
Again, the Spanish team choosing to do things a bit differently. That's Ana Isabel Toledo going the other route.
It's actually exactly the same route as Casado went in his heat.
I wonder if they've done the same preparation, you know? They obviously... Teams tend to make their own maps here, and they will change the things, or maybe it's more the tactical, they've had similar tactical decisions.
I think it looks a little bit easier to execute. You can just come in without taking any turns.
Yeah, but losing time, I think, there, and you've got to take avoiding action.
She was already behind before this route choice. But still, Sanna Fast and Wikström in the lead, then Vera Klemetinen.
This is so relentless. It's so hard to see on the map, you know, but when you're actually in amongst these athletes, you can see just how many decision points there are and how quickly all of these features come at you. And that's what makes sprinting difficult. If you're doing it slowly, it's not going to be hard, but because these guys are racing flat out, it is so tricky.
There was a small mistake before by Sanna Fast. Just went 1 meter, kind of a bit too early.
And that's the type of mistakes we talk about when we're talking knockout sprint, right?
Yeah, I mean, it costs you a couple of meters, can be very decisive, not on the way to the 6th or 7th control, but if it would happen toward control 8, then it can be very decisive.
As we saw with Natalia Gempela, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it will be interesting here if Dietrichova is going to be able to get to the semi-final. A very interesting name. Had a great qualification this morning, kind of the rising star in the Czech team.
Yeah, she was second in her heat. She's a multi-junior world champion.
A couple meters between Klemetinen and Dietrichova.
So on their way to the 7th control, it's just behind this building. See Ana Isabel Toledo again, doing something different, trying to take that different route choice to get ahead. Maybe she's got the feeling she's not quite as fast as some of these other runners. She's got to do something different. As you mentioned there, top 4, I'd say, pretty clear.
And Dietrichova went a different route to control 8 compared to the others, I think. Looks like Sanna Fast. Where do we have Wikström? It's for sure Klemetinen in the 2nd there.
Yeah, they're on their way into the arena here.
Could come someone from the left there as well.
Yeah, yep, someone's coming through there. But here's Sanna Fast and Vera Klemetinen. This is Frida Wikström as well.
It's Wikström.
And then Dietrichova, I think, will be in 4th. So Sanna Fast, the favourite of this heat. Then Vera Klemetinen, then Frida Wikström safely through. The young runner Dietrichova next, and then Laura Robertson with Ana Isabel Toledo on her way into the finish as well. So that's the next ones through: Sanna Fast, Vera Klemetinen and Frida Wikström.
Yeah, now they're discussing the small mistake she did there, Sanna Fast, when she kind of turned, let's say 2 meters too early, 1 meter into dead ends.
Yeah, you can see the big cut on her arm that she's got. Mostly you get those type of injuries in forest orienteering, but not in sprint orienteering. So
I think you can,
2 of our quarterfinals.
You can get more serious injuries in sprint orienteering than in forest orienteering, actually. Well, it's very close in the sprint in Locarno with Kasper Fosser, almost hit by a car.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's only really local traffic that's going to be out on the roads today, at least in this central section of the town. And Malin Øyvind Christiansen has made a fast start then ahead of Alva Sonesson. Grace Malloy in 3rd place. Alexandra Hornick from Poland next. Very interesting young athlete here, Ilza Yumika, a junior. She's 19 this year, so not even a top year junior. Watch out for her name in the future. Obviously at the Junior World Champs, also being held in Sweden. But Malin Agve Christiansen, the 6th place at the World Cup in the individual sprint, has clearly made a decision to set out fast here, and she's done a great job so far.
Yeah, it's not a surprise that we have those 3 runners trying to put up the speed here in the beginning. I mean, Grace Molloy with the silver medal at the knockout sprint in Uster, for sure one of the favorite, had a good qualification. I think she won her heat this morning as well. Yeah, and Alva Sunesson on home soil here. So I think those 3 actually they are the favorites for this heat. But as you mentioned, we have other runners as well fighting for spot in the semi-final.
Yeah, and anything can happen in the knockout, but certainly Malin Egve Christiansen just not leaving anything to chance. She's set out nice and fast from the start, and she knows that she just wants to, that she can have a hesitation at the end and still, I think, get safely through.
I mean, for the 3 runners a bit behind, it's not the best situation, because when you have the, let's say, the 3 favorites in the heat, in the lead, with a bit of a gap in between, there's no need for them to split up at any point. If you're Alva Sunesson or Grace Molloy, just keep on running behind Malin Agevik Christiansson. Even if you lose 1 or 2 seconds on a route, you still have a small gap down to Hornik, Graber and Jumike. So it looks very, very good for those 3 runners.
Okay, this is the drone shot above control number 6.
Now, did they do a mistake now? Because I think
possibly
this... Yeah, it's the commentator's curse, isn't it? Just when I mentioned, I think actually they did a mistake because on the GPS it looks like they turned again. There between 5 and 6, as if they would have been running to the left first and then changed back. So maybe it's Hornik and Graber now in the lead. It is very hard to say from the drone shot and what we have here with GPS. But I have the feeling that could be the case.
Yeah, I think that was a big mistake. I think you were right. I mean, I saw it on the GPS. I thought, oh, this is just a GPS error.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. They went, I don't know, I just completely lost where they were.
I think we get a split time at control 7. We usually do. Here we have... Is it
look at the
Mika?
kits.
It's Hornik maybe. I will see the Hans here.
All alone though at the control 7. It is Alexander Hornik
and then I think
of
it's
Poland.
Graber here.
Yeah, Lily Graber, then Malin Christiansen, then Grace Molloy. So they swap routes again. Gosh, this is the most chaotic mistake. So that was what Malin Ageve Christiansen, Grace Molloy, and Alva Sunesson all made a big mistake.
But to kind of save again what I said before, to try to step back again, if they would have done that mistake and already have been behind, they would have no chance to even get close to the semi-final. Now they had a small gap, and still they have the chance, even though they did a big mistake. Christiansson, she's still in the fight for position 3 or even 2, maybe.
This is Alexandra Hornik, I think, coming in here, and she's got a massive gap there. Pole, watch out from the left for any athletes coming from that direction. That may well happen, but here is the pole, and she's just got it right, capitalizing on the other mistakes, not getting too close to the others, and a simple qualification for Alexandra Hornik. Here comes Malin Ageve Christiansen, and who's going to be the next one to qualify? It's going to be Lily Graber, and Grace Molloy run out of it there with that mistake made by that pack. Alva Sunesson was part of that group as well. Ooh, tricky stuff then on this quarterfinal.
So what I think happened is that they exit control 5, and then they have overseen one of the barriers, so they turned to the left, thought that they could get around, noticed that halfway on the way to that barrier had to turn all the way back again. I think they lost about 10 seconds or even more.
Yeah, I think it could have been even more there. Tough stuff for this group. So Malin Eva Christensen, Lily Graber and Alexandra Hornick making it through in a pretty shock result for that quarter-final, but that is what the knockout sprint is all about. Now we have the big favourite in quarter-final number 4, Simona Aebersold.
Yeah, I mean, you have Simona Aebersold, but you also have Cécile Gallandry, the European champion. You have Inka Nurminen, bronze medalist from the European Championships. You have Maja Sianoja, third position in the knockout sprint in Locarno a couple of weeks ago. This is a tough one, probably the toughest one of all the 6 women's heats here in this quarterfinal. Wait.
Ooh, little fall there. Was that Aebersold in the lead? It was.
Yeah.
Looks like Gallandry hit the lead first, but then Aebersold, she does like to get in the front. It's a tactic that she knows works for her. Obviously, these athletes will straight away be able to see that it's just a straight course. That would be almost the first thing they look at, won't it?
Yeah, and it's very easy to see that it's unforked. I mean, you see it directly because obviously there's no runner's choice. You would notice that in the very beginning. Doesn't look like any loop or anything similar. So yeah, for sure, it's unforked. Very clear to see.
So yeah, Aebersold, then Inka Nurminen. Then we've got Gallandry there, and lots of athletes close together in 4th, 5th and 6th. As you know, I think they're currently in 5th position and all strung out here on the way to the 5th control.
It's Sianoja overtaking Nurminen there. See that it's important for Sianoja to have a good position out of control 5.
And even though it's such classic Swedish kind of terrain, as it were, from the centre of the town, it's still, I think it's very easy for lots of different nations to do well on this kind of a course and this kind of terrain. It does look very Swedish when you're there, but it's not super special.
No, it's not super special. I mean, that's basically what I wanted to say when I told that it's very Swedish. So the thing is that usually in Scandinavian cities, because they from the beginning were built in wood, they had a period that, I mean, it's very easy that they burn down throughout history at one point. So many of those cities are rebuilt. You don't have this really old town center parts of a city, which are a bit more difficult with passages, small passages, and narrow bits and everything. You can see it here. You have quite wide streets. Yeah, you have this rectangular form of everything. So it's not so hard to see. But again, I mean, the barriers, of course, they make it much more difficult. If you oversee a barrier like in the heat before, that's of course very crucial, and then you lose a lot of time. But it's not so hard to prepare for something like this. I mean, you can prepare with barriers in any kind of terrain.
Yeah, absolutely. You just need a bit of creativity and some tape on the ground, or not even any barriers out there. You can do your training with them, no problem at all. So looking at these athletes, it's kind of 4 now and then a gap. Simona Aebersold still leading here.
I don't think we have Nurminen there, right? It's Sianoja in 3rd, and then it looks like
Sianoja. Yeah, Nurminen is there in, I think, 5th.
A couple meters behind.
So they're all going to go. Are they all going to go back out the same way? I think most of them will, and they'll kind of weave through those buildings exactly as they have done previously. And obviously that's, you know, having been there before, it's quicker to go through the second time. You kind of know what to expect. You don't need to make any hesitations, no double checking of the map.
Of course, already on the way in, you plan the way out, and then you know that you have to kind of memorize how you got to control 7, so you can just run the other way. You don't have to look at the map anymore, get a couple of meters, very convenient to do, and it's going to be quite a safe one here for Aebersold, Gallandry, and Sianoja.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those are the athletes here, although one of the athletes is trying to put up a little bit of a chase there. That is a Djurgården from Norway in 4th place, who's caught up a little bit right at the end there. But Abersold, Kalondri and Maya Sienoya in the end,
quite tight in
getting
the
in there
end.
ahead of Djurgården. Yeah, just in there ahead. And for me, a bit of a surprise that Inka Nurminen isn't a little bit closer up there alongside the others. Fairly comfortable qualification for those top 2. Just getting the printout of the results there. Of course, they will have their maps taken off them fairly soon, so a lot of times these athletes want to take all the time they can actually to read the map and get a little insight before the semi-finals, actually, yes. Okay, about to move on to the 5th quarterfinal here. They were at the start. The next 6 to line up, top 3 to make it through. And a couple of interesting names there, especially the Norwegian P. Young-Vik.
Yeah, and the Van Dongen, I would say as well, bronze medalist from the World Championships 2022. Actually in good shape right now. Had some great results throughout the last weeks.
Yeah, she won the Swedish Sprint Championships. She beat all the Swedes.
Exactly. So it's a good sign ahead of a World Cup race in Sweden. But if I look at the other names, I mean, of course, Annabelle Dulaine, it's good results as well. I think she had she had good results. But then for like 4, 5, and 6, on paper it should be quite clear for Pia Young-Vik, If van Dongen, and Annabelle Dulaine.
There's in this list Annie Jantunen. She's a junior, born in 2009, currently in 3rd place. So, you know, a junior running fast here. Obviously, not very much experience, but yeah, exactly. But could pull off a shock here. I mean, she had a great qualification, so you never know.
And it's always so hard to say. I mean, with younger runners. In sprint, of course, it's the first discipline, I would say. They have a real chance to get really good results. A knockout sprint then is a bit more tactical as well. Sometimes you get a bit lucky if someone drops out. So I think, yeah, she's definitely a chance to get to the semi-final here. But I think, let's say, 6 out of 10 we would get Young-Vik, Van Dongen and Dulaine to the semi-final here.
Well, let's see as we keep following these races round. There's a gap of 4 there, and I think it's Dulaine and it is the young Finn Jantunen, both in 4th and 3rd. So we've already lost 2 runners here. We've lost Ilvi Kasner and Agata Olejnik. But, you know, we've seen big mistakes in these competitions.
It looks like everyone is going to the right there, as you should.
Yeah, no mistakes there from this group.
No, but you'd have, I mean, you could continue all the way to almost the number 6 there, and then come to the control from the north, drop south. So there would be a possibility to go differently here.
But I think this south route choice is the quicker one. I think when people have taken that, they have managed to build up some time. So we can look back then down at these runners. It's still Pia Young-Vik, I think. Then it is If van Dongen. And If van Dongen is such an interesting name. She started orienteering as an adult. Not very many of the runners competing here will have done that. They'll have all grown up doing it as children. She only picked up the sport after moving to Sweden. So obviously running for the Netherlands, but she does live here. It's kind of home soil for If van Dongen. So Agata Olejnik doing something a little bit different, trying to go that different route choice. I don't think she'll gain any time on the others.
I mean, she's taking the route we have seen almost all the others take here. Olenik. I think we've seen that route quite much more often than the other one. But she was quite far behind already from the beginning. So you can see there it's going to be, as it seems here, a fight between Jan Tunen and Dylan.
Yeah, for that third qualifying spot. Those top four with a gap still. And here they come into the arena, and actually we've lost the Finn. Yeah, exactly as you were kind of expecting it to be. We've had Dylan pulling through into, I think, second place there. Yves van Dongen in third, but Pia Young-Vik, Annabelle Dylan, then Yves van Dongen, and the young Finn is going to try and make it across the line ahead, but she is in fourth place at the moment, so clear for Pia Young-Vik, the European sprint champion, European knockout silver medalist. Dylan, and then Van Dongen, Jantunen, the Finnish junior in fourth, just missing out. As you see, Ilvi Kastner about to cross the line here for fifth. Still, Agata Leźnik, there we go. Here she comes for Poland in sixth place. So Yves van Dongen, Pia Young-Vik looking fantastic in this discipline once again. And really soon about to head into the last quarter-final. Again, who's impressed you so far with one quarter-final still to go? Delight from Annabelle Dylan.
Well, I would say, I mean, this heat, was it heat number 4 with Abersol, Gallandry and Sianoia looked very, very good. All three of them looked very strong. I would say arguably Christiansen was quite impressive that she managed to get back again after this mistake. But I mean, there's still a couple of runners to come here in this heat as well. I would expect Hanna Lundberg and Hedvig Wahlbjörn Gudesen. Of course, she's interesting. I would not have said that before the first World Cup, but as the winner of this one, she is definitely on the list now for the semi-final and the final later on. And then as well, Victoria Hester Björnstad. So this last heat here is going to be quite interesting as well. Maybe not really. Again, to me it seems quite clear which three runners that should make it. Wait, that's a tough one.
Knocked over
for
the
Hyni.
Control there. So Ida Happala in the lead, I think, here for Finland.
I can see Mara Marosi tries to win back a couple of positions here, pushes really hard, wants to get up there, close the gap to Happala. Yeah, but again, the favorites for me here in this, I mean, of course, Gudesen, Lundberg and Hester Björnstad. But you could see there that Mara Marosi, she wants to be up there in a good position as well.
Yeah, we've got from the last World Cup, we've got the winner of the sprint and the winner of the knockout sprint, both in this quarterfinal together. Rita Mamarosi, she's only a first-year senior. She's had a couple of years racing on the senior levels already for Hungary. Victoria Hester Björnstad, she was fourth in the individual time trial sprint at the World Cup as well. So there is lots of class here in this last quarter-final to see who'll join Yves van Dongen, Pia Young-Vik and Annabelle Dylan in semi-final number 3. Again, it's really hard to see from the GPS what the athletes are doing. It looks like they're all going the same way, though, out to control number 6.
And it's not only hard to see what they are doing, it's also see where they are within the group, because I don't think Hester Björnstad is behind or that much behind.
No, but Hedvig Wahlbjörn Gudesen is in second. I think it's Hanna Lundberg in the lead, and then it is Ida Happala. So, yeah it's kind of going a little bit more to form now.
the one a little bit behind is Corina Hüni from Switzerland. All the others here in this group that we can see.
But Hedvig Valbjørn Goodison will be having to race this so differently compared to the last round of the World Cup, because at that point, you know, she wasn't, you know, a big name for people to really be watching out for, but you win that World Cup and now suddenly everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, but I don't think it makes a big difference here in the quarterfinal. Maybe it would make a difference then later on in the semi-final, final. I mean, here she's still, I mean, she would have, already before you would have said that she has a chance to go to the semi-final, of course. So I don't think here in this one, it changes so much for her, but you can see it that she runs with a lot of confidence once you have the second position, looks strong physically as well.
Yeah, so group of five still here, Hannah Lundberg leading.
Yeah, if you compare it to Mara Marosi, where you could see that in the beginning she pushed really hard over the bridge, went up to second position, but then already at the control she was down in 4 again. It was a lot of up and down. It's not as distinct, and if you compare that to Gudesen, you could feel that, okay, she almost plans to be in second position. She stays there. There's no back and forth. Looks very solid, like a plan.
Yeah, absolutely super solid. They're all again very close together here. Same routes through towards control number 8. Last control. Oh, now they split up here. I think this is just as they weave through the different blocks here in the town, and of course some of the athletes really stepping up the speed. They've got a bit of a sharper corner there, and we'll see the other runner coming from the right. Should be, or maybe she's gone all the way through into the arena, so she'll come. There we go. Goodison's going to go a different way here. We'll see who approaches first. It is the Dane. Fantastic work there. You can see her speed. Victoria Hayes Bjornsson has pulled up into second out of nowhere. And Hannah Lundberg is going to be run out of it. Just in this last section. That is a surprise for me, not to see Hannah Lundberg making it through, but Goodison, she went the different way. She knew what she was doing. She stepped up the speed. I'm sure she did. Victoria Haystad Bjornstad just was in and amongst the group the whole time, and just, I think, must have kept a bit of speed in reserve for the end, because she was able to take a few places. It's very open at the end of the course. You know, there is spaces for people to overtake the others. You know, that it's not like it was in Switzerland where it's so hard to overtake at the end. Here the streets are much wider, and I'm sure the athletes will have thought about this as well. But there they are, through to the semi-finals. So now we know all our semi-finalists.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the difference between the one in Switzerland and this one. Another one is that in Switzerland you could really win by just like preparing and memorizing the last bit, and here there is nothing like this. It was very physical from the last meters, and so we got those runners here in green to the semi-finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking through all of those, seeing who's got some nice quick times as well. So we know everybody who's made it through to the semi-finals. We're going to take a break from the commentary for just a moment, and then we're going to be back with the semi-finals and the finals as well. The athletes are going to take a break. We're going to take a break too, and we're going to see who is going to become the winner of the second round of the World Cup here in this knockout sprint. Look at that. Hedvig Valbjørn Goodison, one of the fastest times there in this knockout sprint. What a turn of speed from the Dane. Can she take another title? We'll be back very soon, so please do join us then.
See you then.